I think it is high time we all collectively thanked Poland for taking it upon themselves to single-handedly save modern-day RPGs. We already had The Witcher, of course, and now we have both the Blood of Dawnwalker and the Vernyhorn to look forward to as well. I have already gone over the Blood of Dawnwalker and what has been revealed regarding that game in this video over here, if you're interested, but I recently saw a video showcasing bits and pieces of the Vernyhorn as well, and I was just blown away. The game is made by Studio, a small indie studio based in Poland. The game looks absolutely incredible, and I truly love the dark, gloomy atmosphere as it helps set an incredible mood and overall feel to any game, especially when done right. And especially since I've seen dark, gloomy worlds and universes get the Marvel and or Disney treatment over the years. So let us get into the Vernyhorn and let us go over what the game is about, the story, the world, the combat, the environment, and in general, everything that the devs have promised us thus far. And since I'm more of a story-focused gamer, I'll start with the more story-focused details, the choices, the world, and so on, and then get to the more technical aspects of the game, like the combat and the animations. I will label everything, however, so that if someone is interested in specific aspects of the game, then feel free to skip most of my yapping and skip ahead to whatever aspect is more interesting to you, of course. So without further ado, let us dive in. So the Vernyhorn is a dark, open-world RPG set in the Middle Ages and what that looked like for the early Slavic societies, exploring the various myths, beliefs, as well as the harsh reality of it all during that time period. The world is alive, and its village, cave, and location in general is said to be filled with hidden passages, mysterious dungeons, and secret corners that reward curiosity, so we will have an incentive to actually actively go out and explore the world around us, and have an active role in how and when the story unfolds, as they've also told us that the story won't be just, handed to us, but instead it will move on as we explore, and of course, in true RPG fashion, there will be consequences to our every choice. Said choices are said to matter. We will have to face morally complex decisions that will have far-reaching consequences throughout the game. A mysterious presence is said to also be challenging our conscience, but not much more has been revealed regarding the story just yet. As for the world itself, it is a handcrafted one, so there isn't filler content in it. Every village, cave, and even NPC has a purpose to serve. Each quest is said to be actually meaningful, and every corner of this world has been promised to have its own lore, quests, and story for us to uncover and explore. And I've truly missed such worlds where the map isn't just littered with, question marks that all lead to basically the same thing, either a treasure chest, a fort, or a collectible of some sort. The way they seem to have gone about this seems to be one that ties back to them giving you actual incentive to go out there and explore on your own. Not because you want to clear the map of all treasure chests or forts or what have you, but because the game has actually hooked you in and you want to see what could be hidden in that cave in the horizon. They've also told us that there will be no artificial restriction of access to locations, nor will they scale down locations in an effort to make it easier on the player. So it truly will be an open world RPG in its purest form. On topic with this handcrafted, no filler content world is the fact that they've been inspired by the landscapes of real-life Eastern Europe, with every tree, river, and rock formation being based on detailed, real-world scans. So I think this will further add to how alive and realistic the game will feel, and from what they've shown us in the actual trailer itself, I have to agree that indeed, each landscape that was showcased truly looked incredibly realistic and unique. this incredible, realistic living world won't be static either. There is a day and night cycle, seasons will also change, and with them so will the environment, as well as the animals that we will see roaming the world. Villages will have their own daily routines, and your survival and exploration of this incredible world will be dependent on, as well as influenced by, the weather conditions. Which brings us to the fact that this journey will require preparation and planning beforehand, as we will be asked to stock up on food, dress for the weather, and plan our route carefully before setting off on our journey. So again, it won't be your typical, oh, I'll just walk from one side of the map to the other, no problem type of game. But instead, one that will require us to think before we set out, plan on what we should wear, how much food we should have with us, which route to our destination we should take, and so on, which honestly will only make the game even more realistic and interesting as well. In keeping with this realism is the fact that they've taken extra care to make sure the world, traditions, and architecture have all been extensively researched to reflect how life truly was during the 9th and 10th centuries in the area. The combat is promised to be brutal, and from the little they've shown of it, they aren't lying. They have some of the best stuntmen, swordmasters, and choreographers on the team, one of whom has worked on Cyberpunk 2077, Ghost Runner, and Raid: Shadow Legends. And like I said, it does look like they truly can deliver on this one too. The combat won't be your typical frantic smashing of buttons, but about reading our opponents, timing our strikes, and surviving real encounters. So once again, everything will be much more alive and reactive, and not just, a passive world or a passive NPC who are all just there to serve as filler content, or just a random NPC who you just have to off in order to move on with your quest, for example. Instead, you'll have to look at how they move, so you can choose when to block, when to attack, and so on. Every movement has also been motion captured to make the combat system feel much more realistic and dynamic. Also, the fact that they say honor is secondary, survival is what truly matters, kinda makes me feel like the combat will be a bit unpredictable as well, and not your typical knights fighting, for example, that we see in games where two characters involved follow a fixed set of rules and movements and so on. They've also promised that the characters' faces will essentially not be tired, I guess, since they said that anything from climbing, running, walking, the combat system, and even subtle interactions will feel natural, so that the character can respond in a much more fluid and realistic way to both his environment as well as the actions that he will be called to take, which will help with the immersion, of course, as the game will feel much more realistic once again. So they truly do seem to be invested in making the world and the characters feel as alive and realistic as they possibly can. So far, everything sounds incredible and a bit too good to be true, to be honest. However, from the little they have shown, I trust they can deliver on the things they've promised. I am of course concerned, since the studio is an incredibly small indie one, but even if they can deliver on half of what they've promised, the game will still be better than most, if not all, modern day RPGs that are made by big studios. But at the same time, let's not forget, it is not impossible for a small indie studio to produce an incredible game, as evident by both Expedition 33 and the many indie games and studios that were massive hits this year alone. Besides, it is always small indie studios that are far more willing to take fan feedback into account and improve the game when needed. So I'm not really concerned about the game potentially having some hiccups along the way. In fact, I suspect the game will be far from perfect initially, since such a small studio is involved in its production. I am, however, super confident about them and their willingness to take fan feedback into account and improve the game along the way. They have already stated that they are open to feedback anyway, so I'm super confident that even if the game is not exactly what we were hoping for in its early stages, they will still listen to us and make it into the game that we want to buy and play, before releasing it, of course. And that is just music to my ears. Because let's be real here, all studios really have to do is listen to what gamers want and then take that feedback into account and then just make the necessary changes to the game they're working on before launch. If that is done, gamers will be there to support you, no questions asked. We are all just super tired of AAA studios making RPG slop anyway, and will thus be there to support small, indie studios that are first of all listening to us and are also offering us freedom from these far lefty nonsense studios. There is no freedom without solidarity after all. But I'm really impressed with Poland and their knack for producing such incredible RPGs so far. All bobbers must really be proud. Well done, Poland.